In this tutorial we're going to be looking at one way of removing this lens flare from this picture here. Now the tool we're going to be using is the clone stamp tool, which is a real favourite of mine for its ability to remove or alter a multitude of sins. As you'll see, it's fantastic for this kind of work, but it's also very good for removing red eye, and also for when you want to add in extra people into pictures or remove them altogether. So let's start off by selecting our clone tool, which is this one over here. If you can't see it, it might well be hiding underneath this pattern stamp tool. It occupies the same space. So let's select this one. Now, like most tools, it's got its own toolbar up here. So let's begin. Let's select a good brush size. I think we want something fairly big. You can see as our diameter gets bigger, the size of this circle, which is our cursor, so enlarges too. So if it's currently across, it's probably because you've got the caps lock key pushed. So now we've got our brush size selected. Let's zoom in to our first area, which I think we're going to have a go at this area here, which is one of the worst areas. So let's zoom right in, as you can see, using the navigator here. And this guy here allows us to zoom in, and this one is to zoom out. You can then just use the hand tool just to grab this red box and move it about the image to get it exactly where you want it. Now that we've zoomed in, you can see that our brush is probably a little bit too big. So let's shrink down a little bit. Okay, to use this tool, you first have to select an area you're going to copy from. You do this by holding down the Alt key and left-clicking where you want to take your sample from. So let's try here. So left-click, remove the Alt key, and then with simply the left mouse button, you can then paint on the area which is essentially copying or sampling from another area. And you can see here on the left we've got our circle, which is our cursor, which is where we're painting to, and on the right you can see this cross, which is where we're sampling from. And you can see as we move about, the sample area changes too. Now the trick to using the clone tool, I find, is to keep on sampling from lots of different areas to make it look really realistic. Otherwise you can tend to see patterns occurring where you've copied a big line, etc. So let's have a bit from up here and just slowly paint our way on. Let's tackle this one now. So let's pick this bit of mortar from there and just slowly work our way across. And again, let's take this bit and let's put a big dark piece in there. Now here we need to shrink our brush down. So let's go nice and small to be able to tackle this area. Let's get a nice dark area and slowly paint our way through. And there you have it. I think that one's one lens flare that's gone. So let's zoom out and have a look. There we go. All gone. So let's have a go at this one now. Let's have another way of zooming in. So let's click on the magnifying glass here, and let's draw a box around the area we want to be working in. There we go. Now let's go back to our clone tool. Let's get our brush size up a little bit. It's a bit small there. That's a bit better. Now hold down the Alt key and left click to select the sample area, and then without the Alt key, just the left mouse button, let's draw or paint our sample over. As I say, it's a very easy process, but the best way is to keep on sampling from different areas to avoid making a pattern. So I think we've just about done on that one. Let's zoom out and have a look. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Now we've got one last area to have a go at, which is this area here, which is quite a difficult one, as it's got this sort of reddish blur going on over it. So let's see what we can do. Let's zoom in a little on this area. Now, as I said briefly at the beginning, up the top we have our toolbar setting, which is all the settings for this tool, which in this case is the clone stamp. Now, one of them, as you can see, is the opacity. So we're going to use this to be able to quickly darken up this red area. So let's drop the opacity down to, say, about 50% using the slider. Then again, we're going to use the Alt key, select this area all the way from over here, which hasn't been affected by this red, and then I'm literally just going to paint a big band over the top. Now, because it's only 50% opacity, only half of it is really being painted at this strength. So the original pattern still shows through, but this is having the effect of just darkening the area slightly. See, what we'll do again is we'll take a bit of this gravel, and again you can see that it's just darkening slightly, yet without copying too much of the pattern over. Keep on sampling lots of areas, and there you see I've sampled an area here which is a bit too light. So let's get another dark area and let's go over the top of it and just darken it up a little bit. Now we've got this bit to do. Let's keep on going. And here we are, I'm just getting the worst of this gravel off. So keep on alt-clicking to pick up the sample, and then simply left-clicking to paint it back on. Now we've just got this little area here to do, so let's grab from up here and just very roughly paint away. Oops. Now here I've gone a little bit too over, and you could see that it was because as I took a sample from up here and moved down, eventually the cross will come into the window, which was going a bit too far. So let's fix this. Let's select from somewhere a little bit nearer by and paint it over. Now I'm obviously being very fast here due to time constraints within this tutorial, but you can take all the time in the world you need, as it really does pay to spend a little bit more effort on it to get the really seamless results that we're looking for. Let's just finish this area off, and let's zoom out and have a look at what we've done. So there we are, without any lens flare. This area still needs a little bit more work, but I'll let you finish that off. Let's use our history. Let's find the history palette, which is hiding under here. And if we go back to our original by clicking on the top file name here, you can see this is what we've come from with our lens flares here and here. Let's go back down to the bottom, and this is what we've done so far. A little bit more to do, but I think we're well on the way.